Attention deficit disorders had many names over the years, but fundamentally it's a condition where people can't sort of get around to, stick with, and finish things that they otherwise should be able to. And it comes down to problems with focus or problems with too much physical behavior. And the way I like to think about it, it's as if sort of the steering, so to speak, of life is a little bit loose. So people may have great success in some parts of their life, but really struggle in others. And the fundamental criteria I look for when I work with people is there what we call impairment? Is there a problem? Is the struggle enough that it's really compromising people's quality of life? So, attention deficit disorder is a sort of brain-based condition. We've learned that it has nothing to do with people's motivation or will or personal character. It's sort of the way people are born. It's one of the earliest conditions you can identify in sort of children. And while it may cause a lot of problems for people that struggle with it, there are also a lot of ways to adapt to it. And that's what I specialize in, both as a researcher and as a clinician. So there's been a lot of conversation in the media and over the years about whether attention deficit disorder is really a product of modern society, and whether it's just sort of too much sort of demands on us, too much distraction, so to speak. In the modern age, with all the media that we have, there's a lot of demands for our attention, and a lot of things that are shiny and pulling at us, from ads on TV that are fast-paced, to shows that are fast-paced, to things we can pick up on the internet. There's just a lot of sources of distraction, and our work environment and academic environments are such that it feels that demands are just higher and higher. People asked to do more, faster, stronger. So these, is this just a product of modern society? And it's interesting, we've done studies internationally as a scientist in ADHD that show that you can see the same rates effectively of attention deficit in children and in adults across different cultures. So it's not just a disorder of Western culture. You certainly, I think, see it come out more in situations where a lot of focus or attention is valued. I was inspired to write a book about ADHD because there's just such a hunger for good information. I'm a researcher and a clinician. I've been working for 15 years in psychiatry, and I was fascinated by problems of attention. That people could, on the outside, look completely fine, could not be stuck in these devastating states of depression or anxiety that I would see so often in my training, yet have sort of a constant struggle, if you will, that they're up against. A constant struggle that put them at risk for some of these other kinds of more severe states at times. And I was just fascinated that there could be sort of a difference inside that no one else saw, that a person would struggle with alone. And that's what I heard. I heard people coming and saying, I've had an aha moment. Someone said to me, maybe you have attention deficit disorder. I started to read about it. I started to think about it. And now I understand it's not effectively my fault. I was wired this way, and also understand what I can do about it. So in the last decade, there's been such a growth of information about the condition, about why people have it, what's different in the brain, different versions of ADHD, how people can do better with it. Actually, in some ways, benefits of having ADHD. And this really needed to be distilled in some way that people could sort of appreciate. So it's really people's demand, and that sort of inspired me to do this. It's also out of passion. I'm very excited about this topic, and so it's just a pleasure to basically tell people's stories in a different way. The book's Fast Minds, and the book is to help people thrive if they have ADHD in adulthood. The book is both a sort of science, experience, evidence-based resource or guide for people who have ADHD, but also is a personal sort of workbook where people can develop strategies that'll help them adapt and thrive. The first part of our book is about what is ADHD. Do you have it, or does someone you love have it? Someone you know have it? If they do, what version of ADHD do they have? What does it look like? to have ADHD effectively. The second part of the book is what can you really do about the ADHD that you have, what works, what doesn't work, and the third part of the book is effectively integrating this into personal strategies.